When you come to Florence, you will definitely hear many times the name of the Medici family. The Medici family was undoubtedly the most important of the Florentine families, as they managed to take over the control over the local government already during the 1430s, and later on, with the time, they became the Dukes of Florence and Tuscany, ruling until the 18th century, when the family line died out. How did it all happen? Where the power of the Medici family came from? Let's discover the history of the Medici by walking through the streets of Florence. During the 14th century, the Medici family was just one of the many patrician families of Florence. Their ascent to power started in 1378 when Giovanni di Bicci de Medici inaugurated the family bank. During a few decades, the Medici family managed to establish a particularly important ties with the papacy, becoming the bankers of the popes, and that allowed them to extend their economic but also the political influence. In 1434, Cosimo the Elder de Medici, the son of Giovanni di Bicci, managed to impose his control over the local republican government of the city, and the family kept that power until 1494, when they were exiled from the town. During the 15th century then, they ruled for almost 4 generations: Cosimo the Elder, his son Piero, his grandson Lorenzo the Magnificent, and the one who will be exiled will be Lorenzo's son Piero. During the exile, the family did not abandon the ambitions to become the official rulers of Florence. That became possible thanks to the fact that 2 members of the family became popes during the early 1500s. In 1513, the son of Lorenzo the Magnificent, Giovanni de' Medici, became a pope with the name of Leo X. 1 year after his death, his own cousin, Giulio de' Medici, became a pope, Clement VII. The papacy of the 2 Medici popes reinforced the international position of the dynasty and made possible the final return of the family to town. During the 1530, the Medici attacked Florence, and the city, the Republic, collapsed into the hands of the Medici family. In 1532, the Medici Pope Clement VII gave to Alexander de' Medici the title of the Duke of Florence. The Medici ruled as Dukes of Florence and later Grand Dukes of Tuscany until the death of the last male member of the family, Giangastone de' Medici, who died in 1737. The history of the family will finish with the death of Giangastone's sister, Anna Maria Luisa de' Medici, who died in 1743, leaving all the immense heritage into the hands of the Habsburgs Lorraine dynasty that took over the Grand Duchy of Tuscany. She was the last member of the Medici family. You can discover the history of the Medici family in Florence by simply walking through the streets of the city. Discover the evolution of the Medici's government following this itinerary. Few steps from the Cathedral of Florence stands the magnificent Palazzo Medici, today called Palazzo Medici Riccardi, which was the first urban residence built between 1444 and 1460 for Cosimo the Elder de' Medici and his family. The designer of this Renaissance palace was Cosimo's frequent collaborator Michelozzo. Palazzo Medici marked a big revolution in the Florentine architecture, being the first Renaissance residence with an internal courtyard and rooms symmetrically distributed around it, with the piano nobile, the noble floor, on the first level, where the Medici had the most beautiful rooms displaying the collections of art that would be showcased to the important guests visiting the palace. The visit at the Palazzo Medici will allow you to learn more about these early stages of the family history. On the first floor, you can admire the magnificent Magi Chapel, decorated during the 1450s by Benozzo Gozzoli, with the scenes of the processions of the 3 Magi who arrive to worship newly born Jesus. The decoration of the Medici Chapel is a political manifest of Cosimo the Elder, as behind the youngest Magus, representing the future of the Italian peninsula, walks the whole Medici faction, members of the family and his political alliances, like the ruler of Rimini or the ruler of Milan, who some sort of support the Medici power in a town. Among the faces of the figures represented in the frescoes, in fact, you will find the portraits of many members of the family and other important personalities living in 15th century Italy. In order to reinforce his dominating position in the city, Cosimo the Elder sponsored the reconstruction and renovation of the ancient Basilica of San Lorenzo, that was the Medici's parish church, standing simply behind their palace. Here, he collaborated with Filippo Brunelleschi, the brilliant architect who has just designed the innovative dome for the Florentine cathedral. The basilica was a very important symbolical place for Florence, as it is one of the oldest Christian churches in the city, and it functioned as the first cathedral in Florence during the 4th and the 5th centuries. Brunelleschi designed the new church following the rules of the Renaissance architecture: symmetry, proportion, geometrical perfection of the volumes. And with time, the Medici family actually decided to organize inside of San Lorenzo their funerary chapels. The first one was the so-called Old Sacristy, designed by Brunelleschi and decorated by Donatello. Cosimo the Elder instead was buried in the crypt underneath the church, in a very symbolical tomb covered by a huge pilaster that supports the entire structure of the basilica. Until today, Cosimo is the actual brick that supports the entire church. Later on, the Medici will commission another funerary chapel from Michelangelo. He will design the so-called new sacristy that is today part of the complex of the Medici chapels. In order to discover the history of the family when the Medici received the ducal title and started officially ruling the city, you have to move closer to the Arno River. You can visit the Palazzo Vecchio, the Florentine town hall that Cosimo I de' Medici transformed from the heart of the Florentine Republic and the site of the local independent government into the first ducal palace of the dynasty.